Um, we have now a little talk with Thais. So if you can, this talk is going to be recorded. So if someone needs to go, we can watch later, but I'd love you to stay because Thais lives in New York. She is an Ayurvedic practitioner, and she will talk a little bit of what's Ayurveda for us. And it's a very important and it's a very beautiful knowledge we bring from our ancestors. And she's sharing a little bit of her knowledge with us. So now is with you, Thais. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel so relaxed now. I feel like I need to get in the mode of teaching. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around. I know it's Friday night. I don't know about the weather over there, but it's quite nice over here. And anyway, thank you for being here. My name is Thais, and I'm in Brooklyn, New York, but I am also from Brazil. I've been in New York for about 20 years. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my journey with Ayurveda. I've always been really into holistic healing and trying to always treat myself with natural, in natural ways. But when I had my daughter about 5 years ago, things changed a little bit. I had quite the postpartum, and then after my postpartum, I started having some issues on my cervix and some cells that kept changing. Anyways, my doctor wanted to treat me the usual way, but I knew deep inside that I could do it in a different way using natural methods and whatnot. And then at the time, I decided to have a consultation with an Ayurvedic practitioner that was close to where I worked. And from then on, it was like love at first sight. I fell in love with it, and I wanted to really deepen my learnings. And then I became an Ayurvedic practitioner against my doctor/teacher. Because she just kept saying, you have so much on your plate, you can't do this. And I was like, no, I want to do this. So anyways, here I am 5 years later, and I continue to study, and I will have to study for many lives because that's how deep the science is. So I'm not sure who's familiar or even heard about Ayurveda before. I know it's sort of like a trendy, almost like topic these days, but I have a little presentation, and I can share my screen, right? I'm gonna share my screen with you all, and I can send this to you guys after. I can send it to you, Ale, and then you can send it to everybody. Okay, I guess that's how I have to do it. Okay. So anyway, Ajna Ayurveda is the name of my practice. Anya meaning your third eye center, and just lots to do with intuition. And because I treat a lot of women, I feel that intuition is a big part of my work as well. And so that's why I chose this name. Anyway, what is Ayurveda? The meaning of the actual word Ayurveda is the science of life or knowledge of life. And Ayurveda is a science that has been around for over 5,000 years. The sages or the Vedas practiced Ayurveda by observation, through a lot of meditation, through a lot of connection with nature. They realized how things changed in their bodies, and then started treating themselves in case they had imbalances by adjusting their bodies to what was going on in nature. So Ayurveda believes nature and humans are interconnected, and the closer a person is to nature, the closer they are to good health. So basically, everybody is a little piece of nature. So we're the microcosm of this big universe, the macrocosm. And the best way to create balance is attuning ourselves to this universe. And so the way we do that is that everything in nature has these five, what we call the five great elements, the Panchamahabhutas, which are space, air, fire, water, and earth. So this exists on everything, on a leaf or on different animals and in ourselves. But we each have these elements in different levels. And so that's what creates our unique constitutions. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what these elements are and how they can be manifested in our bodies or even in nature. So the first one is space. And space is basically nothing, right? So space came from nothing. So for something to exist, there was nothing. And so it was this big space. So it's a very subtle element in our body. And it's very related to the subtleness of ourselves. So the space allows for movement. So if you just think of our bodies, inside of our bodies, our cavities are the space. So within that space, things will move around or not, in case there are toxins or in case there's stagnation or something along the lines that will create this blockage or imbalance. But if space is free, then things flow. Prana, which is our vital force, will flow and everything will work.
The same thing, like our practice, just to make a relationship with the practice we do, is like everything we do in the practice of this method of yoga is creating a space inside. Yeah. And this one element we need inside our body, because without space, there's no flow and there's no movement.
Exactly.
It's really reflecting the practice we do. And it's very important. Thank you. Just one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And you guys can stop me anytime if you have any comments or questions.
And everybody can unmute yourself and make questions too if you need something.
Yeah.
This is okay with that.
It's totally okay. So anyway, the qualities of space are light, soft, smooth. And again, like you said, it's expansive, it's the room we have for all of our elements to really manifest. So after space, there's air, which is the driving force behind all the movement. Air will bring things back and forth, will carry, oxygen, will carry nutrition. So without air, there is no movement. And without air and space, the other elements will not move. So they are really the principal elements of everything. So an example of air in our body is the muscle movement, pulsation of the heart, peristalsis in the stomach, in the intestines, and our nervous system. So air is light, cold, rough, coarse, and non-slimy. And I'm putting these qualities there. This is another part of Ayurveda that we use a lot, is so we know how to balance ourselves. An example is, if you're feeling very dry, so what are you going to do? You're going to balance that by adding moisture. So that's the reason why I put those elements there. But they're just, a continuation of the subject. It's that, it's very hard to do like a short presentation on Ayurveda. So I try to make it as condensed as I could. Anyway, so then moving on, fire. Fire is our drive. It's our radiant energy. It's the sun. It's our digestion, our metabolism. It's everything that transforms in our body. At the age of women when they menstruate until they go into menopause, and men about 18 to like 60, 65, that's the time that we have a lot of drive. So fire is a very predominant element in our bodies at this age. So the fire responsible for digestion, absorption, transformation of food into energy. also very responsible for what we absorb in terms of, mentally, intellectually. The fire is a big component of that. So you see fire in your skin complexion, good or bad. If you have good balanced fire, you're going to have, luster, you're going to have this sort of shiny skin. But if you're unbalanced, you may have rushes, a lot of acne and things like that. So fire is hot, sharp, light, rough, non-slimy. And then water, that comes to balance the heat. But water is really what brings everything cohesively. Water in our body is mucus, is also the secretions around our joints. It's plasma, cytoplasm, and saliva, and things like that. So it's light, but it's unctuous, it's cold, dull, and slimy. And earth is what holds us together. It's solidity, it's support of all matter. So when you think of structure, you think of your bones and your cartilage and nails and muscles and hair, because hair is a byproduct of the bones. So earth is heavy, coarse, hard, dull, stable, non-slimy, solid, and this. Anyway, so I'm explaining these elements to you so we can then move on to the human constitution and, again, what makes us unique. Ayurveda treats each person differently according to the level of these elements, in our bodies. So the 5 great elements manifest in the human body as the 3 basic principles, or humours, or doshas. That's the sort of the trendy word. What's your dosha? And dosha really means that can go out of balance. So the minute that element goes out of balance, that creates disease. So the dosha vata is the combination of air and space, and it's manifested as the wind. Again, like I said, things that, it's that moves everything in your body, things. It is also the root of all doshas, because without air and space, the other things won't move. And it brings a lot of creativity if you're balanced. People of vata predominant dosha, they adapt very easily. They're very creative. They talk a lot. I have quite a bit of vata in me. And the main seat of vata is the colon, as well as cavities, as I mentioned before. But colon is really the main important point of vata. And because vata is the root of all the doshas, the colon is the seat of vata, it is very important that your colon is always clean. Because if your colon is not clean, that can create a lot of issues for you. That's why in Ayurveda, we trace everything back to the digestive system. It's our second brain. It's really our first brain. So keeping this area nice and clean is very important. And then pitta is the combination of fire and water, and that's bile, basically, that which digests things. And one of the things we say in Ayurveda is that you are what you digest and not what you eat, because you may be eating this beautiful diet that, it's full of raw ingredients and live food, but your body can't digest it. If you're a person that has a lot of water and earth, your digestion is slower, so that will affect you. And that's why it's so important for you to have a diet according to who you are. So again, if your fire is working well, if you have no blockages, then you have good absorption, you have good, metabolism, mental digestion, which is very important. Sometimes, we'll eat rushing, the best meal in the world, but we'll eat rushing or on our screens or talking too much, and you won't digest that food because your mental state is not one that is, able to retain all that you're taking. And also, you may be, even your digestive fire may be working well, but your mental fire is not working well. So, Ayurveda is a combination of the balance of the body and the mind. The main seat of Pitta is the small intestine, and Pitta is a little more oily as well. So Pitta people can have too much of the oily food. And then Kapha, water and earth, flame, that which holds things together. And again, substance and support, and it's the bulk of our tissues. So, you know, people of Vata tendency, for example, they tend to suffer more with their tissues, like their tissues are not that strong. So then for them to balance, they'll have to eat more of the elements, water and earth. And even all the food that we eat have these elements, you know, water, earth, fire, air, space. And it seems like a lot, but once you start paying attention, it's really eye-opening, because if you really just stop for a second and think of what you're eating, you'll know if that food is going to be good or bad for you. The main seat of Kapha is the stomach. And then I picked one more thing to talk about, because we're on this talk about digestion, and we can't talk about digestion without talking about Agni. And Agni in Sanskrit is this fire that we have inside of us, but it isn't just the digestion, again, on the specific area of the stomach. It's really the digestion, this intelligence in each of our cells. It's choosing what's going to go into each of our cells. It's, you know, it is really Agni that determines what's coming in and what's going out. So in this way, Agni is the gatekeeper of life, we say. And, you know, there's lots of functions here. And, you know, again, I can send this to you, but a person whose Agni is strong, you will know, because, you know, they have enthusiasm for life. They have joy. They don't get aggravated easily. They have a clarity in their mind that makes them just more accepting of the things that come their way. They know how to deal with the obstacles that come in their lives. So it's not just about, again, digesting the meal that you just had, but it's really digesting life. And so that's really what Agni is. And then a person that has a balanced Agni will have normal appetite. You're not crazy starving all the time. You don't want to snack all day. You have a balanced appetite, and then you have a clean tongue. The tongue is a way for us to diagnose people in Ayurveda. You know, you don't have a coating or anything like that. Good digestion, can eat a reasonable quantity of food, and then stable health, stable weight, good immunity. And that is another point that I wanted to bring out, because of what's going on in our world right now. It is extremely, extremely important to keep our Agni strong and healthy, because a strong Agni means you will not get sick. And I'm gonna just share a little bit of a personal story here. I was traveling in Europe in March, and you know, traveling, again, that's movement, right? That's air, space, and that really usually throws my balance off, especially if I don't sleep, and, you know, with the jet lag, I know that my immunity usually lowers. And I try to bring these travel drops with me, and I take a lot of Tulsi, which is an herb that's amazing for immunity. But still, you know, I took, I don't know, I think like 3 different planes, a bunch of trains. I was, you know, with a lot of people, things that I shouldn't have done, obviously. So when I came back to the States, you know, I had COVID, or at least we think I had, because the doctor said I had, but my antibodies test came back negative. Anyway, I started feeling symptoms. I had a lot of pain on my hips. And why did I have pain on my hips? Because, as I mentioned, you know, Vata is really one of the prominent doshas in my body, and the colon and all this area around the thighs and hips is a Vata seat. So I started feeling pain on my hips, headaches, sluggish, all of that. And sure enough, the next day I woke up feeling terrible. But then, you know, having this knowledge of Ayurveda is so, I don't even know the word. It's so amazing. And I started immediately going on an extremely light, easy to digest diet. I started taking teas. I started trying to revive my Agni so I could recover. And, you know, I had very, very mild symptoms. I was just feeling a little, you know, lethargic, but aside from that, it was really not that bad. I had nothing came up to my lungs, which is great. And, you know, thank God nothing else happened. But anyways, this is just a sign that it's just to show you that if you treat your Agni, if you treat the root of everything, you will most likely be fine. And the relationship of Agni and the joints is because if the Agni is not working, you're creating toxins in your body, right? That starts fermenting and it starts just accumulating in the seat of Vata, which is the colon. And because Vata moves fast, it'll most likely bring it to where it's weak in your body. It'll find a place. And if you are a person that has a lot of that air and space in your body, that toxin will go and install themselves in the joints, and you're going to start feeling the cracks and the pains and whatnot, especially lower back pain. That has so much to do with that. You know, that's like deep-seated like toxins that are accumulated and staying in your body. Another way of the joints being affected is through your tissues. So in our, you know, we have 7 tissues, and the first one being the plasma. Plasma is basically a product of what you eat. So they each nourish each other. So if the plasma starts in a bad way, that means that all the other ones are not going to receive nutrition, or they will receive toxins, and then your joints will get affected. So the way that we would actually treat your joint pain is by treating your digestion. That would be the main thing that I would suggest. Is basically, you know, you could consider a cleanse. And it doesn't have to be like that you have to go to India and spend like 20 days and cleanse your body. I mean, great if you can do that. But you can do something at home. You know, you can do 7 days of a mono diet. You can eliminate animal products. You can drink lots of tea, warm water. There are very simple ways that you can do a cleanse. If your toxins are not so deep into your body, you can take, you know, herbs. I wrote here triphala. Triphala is a combination of 3 herbs, and they are good for all the doshas. So you can take that before you go to bed, you know, either during your cleanse or even just in your daily life. That helps cleanse the colon. You can also massage your joints, and there is this oil, this long name, Hanarayan oil, but it's a phenomenal oil for your joints. You warm it up a little bit, rub it on your palms, and just do circular motions on your joints. You can do that before you go to bed, go to sleep with that oil. It doesn't smell great, but it's really good for your joints. Or even just plain unrefined sesame oil, extremely good for your joints. Unless they're inflamed, don't use sesame oil. If they feel hot, you can use coconut oil instead. And then exercise, you know, obviously, like, you want to move your lymph. You can't have that stagnation, because that will help the accumulation of toxins. And if you can, sweat in the sauna or something along the lines. That is also another great way of releasing the toxins from your body. Breathing exercises, Kapalabhati, which is the breath of fire, that really stimulates your Agni. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. I'm happy to show it if you're not, when we close. You know, it takes a little bit of practice, but it's incredible, and it's so good. Just like you do it in the morning, it kind of clears your mind. You know, it gives you a lot of energy, and it just helps to move everything in your body. And the main thing about Ayurveda is to maintain a routine. You maintain your daily routine, your seasonal routine, which is extremely important. You know, you try not to eat late at night because you need at least 3 hours to digest your food. So if you're eating a heavy dinner, going to bed with that dinner in your stomach, you are sure to have joint pain, you know, because that will start fermenting and accumulating as toxins in your body. And then lastly, I have just a couple of recipes. Again, I'll share this with you all, but some things that you could do if you feel that your digestion is sluggish and you're not feeling so great. And it's a panacea, but I just wanted to point out that this is not for daily consume, like don't consume this daily. You take this if you feel that, you know, you ate something that didn't, you know, digest quite well, or if your appetite is really low, you can take this for a couple of days, but I just would not make this like part of your routine. Now, CCFT, which stands for cumin, coriander, and fennel, you could take this every day if you'd like. It's a very mild tea, and it really helps, again, with the same things as the panacea, but just it's very mild. I don't know. I know that it sounds weird to drink like a tea made out of cumin, but I find it to be delicious. And you can drink it between your meals, not right after your meal because you'll wash out your digestive enzymes, but you know, like 2 hours after, you can drink it, and then you're just gonna prepare your digestion for your next meal. It's really, really good. You can drink this every day if you'd like. And then lastly, it's a masala, and masala, it's a combination of spices. And what I do a lot is I will make my own masala, you know, something that will last at least 2 weeks. And then when I cook, I heat it up with, you know, ghee or whatever it is that I'm cooking with. And then I throw in, you know, my vegetables or my legumes, whatever it is that I'm cooking. It's very easy. It saves me a lot of time and it brings a lot of flavor to the food. This particular one is one very good for digestion. You can see it's basically the same ingredients as the CCFT, just black seeds, and black seeds are extremely tasty. So that is, you know, that is what I have for you today. And thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, I'm all ears.
I have a question is for these recipes, is there someone that should not use it? If some that we should not use the masala or panacea, like if someone is having stomach problems or something, or is
That's a great question. And that's why I put it there, like, you know, take it if you feel that your appetite is low or if the digestion is low. If you move fast, you know, if you're somebody that has like fast metabolism, you have a tendency to have more loose stools instead of, you know, constipation, let's say, you should probably not take this. But it is, you know, mild enough because it contains a lot of the different tastes. So again, you could do it once or twice. It's not going to be a problem. It's not going to irritate your stomach. Ginger is amazing for you. So again, it's just caution, you know, like you shouldn't be taking too much of it. And you take it before 1 meal a day. I wouldn't take it before 3 meals a day, unless you're on a specific cleanse with a practitioner and they will guide you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. When you explained your experience of traveling and possibly having COVID, you said there was a tea or an herb that you took that was very good for the immune system. How do you spell that?
Yes, it's Tulsi, Tulsi.
Oh,
and
Tulsi.
It's Tulsi, yeah, and it's a kind of basil. It's in the basil family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what I actually buy the extract of Tulsi.
Okay.
And I just put a few drops in my water every day. In India, apparently they chew Tulsi leaves like daily to maintain their immunity. So, you know, because we don't have the leaves easily accessible here, I just buy the extract. And it's quite easy to find. Amazon has it, or Whole Foods. All these natural places will have it. Oh, it could also be called holy basil. That's another name for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, holy basil.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more question.
Yes, please.
When you talked about air and space, can you compare that with someone that has a lot of flatulence?
Yes, absolutely. Somebody that has a tendency to get bloated after their meals, that's definitely air inside of them. Now, that air can be caused by a couple of different reasons, and that's what we need to investigate. So, it could be that you have blockage in your body, so the air is kind of getting stuck in that area. Swelling, all of these things like that, it's all related to the air. But again, we just need to know if it's a problem of the air and space, or if there's another element that's causing the problem.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Ayurveda, has that been used for people that have cancer?
Yes, absolutely. With a lot of success if it's caught in the beginning.
Okay.
Again, we won't treat the actual cancer, but what Ayurveda treats is trying to bring back that intelligence of your body, of your cells, and then giving you a diet that will clean, inflammatory food. And there's also, there's the deep cleansing that's called panchakarma. And you have to go to a special place to do that. And that's where I met Ale's sister-in-law. We were doing a cleanse and finishing our class. And basically, it is a deep cleanse, through several ways. So that helps a lot with cancer, because you clean your body of toxins and then you rejuvenate your body again. That's definitely helped a lot with cancer.
How do you spell panchakarma?
Panchakarma is Pancha, pancha, and then karma, Karma. Yeah. And it's pancha is the 5, just like the pancha mahabhutas that we looked at before, the elements. So it's 5 ways of cleansing your system. And there's like through the nose, through the intestines, or even vomiting. I know it sounds weird, but it cleanses a lot of like mucus and anything like in the lung area. And then you have massages to clean your tissues and many other things.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your questions.
A good thing about panchakarma is you need to get massaged every day.
I know, it's so good. It's so good. I mean, massage is really like the best thing of Ayurveda. It's so nice. And I have a YouTube video that I can send together with this that shows how to do your self massage, because massage in Ayurveda is really seen as a medicinal thing, because your skin is your largest organ, so you will absorb what you put on your skin. And by doing certain movements, when you activate your body and your lymphatic system, that releases the toxins from your upper layers and your closest tissues. So it's really, really important for longevity. They say that if you do a massage every day, you live, forever. Wow. And I know it takes time, but you can do like a shorter version when you don't have time. You can do a longer version when you have time. But it's really beneficial for your health and the joints.
Okay.
I think somebody's trying to.
You said something about Ayurveda. Is that?
Yeah.
Picking up sort of momentum. I have a friend who just out of the blue told me she's going to start studying. She's a food person, and she's going to start studying food related to this.
Ayurveda. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just kind of a surprise. I'm hearing.
Yeah. A huge part of Ayurvedic treatment is diet. you know. And again, we say the word diet, but it's really not even the right word, but it's a way of how we should eat our food, you know, according to what suits best for us. The thing is, you know, we're really not that in tune with our bodies anymore, because, you know, I feel like even kids, if you notice kids, you know, they know when to stop. They know when something doesn't feel good, you know. And so I think that if we really stop and pay attention to our bodies, you know, that way of like intuitive eating is very important. Although you could also be craving something that is out of balance in your body. For example, if somebody craves a lot of sweet, you know, their water and earth element may be quite high, because water and earth creates the sweet taste, and the sweet taste is very, you know, nourishing. And so somebody that already has a lot of blockage, they may be craving even more of that. So that's when you need to really know, like, is this like my craving, you know, because I'm not, you know, doing great, or is it because like I really need that? Like when I was pregnant, I've been vegetarian for I think like 3 or 4 years now, but when I was pregnant, I craved a lot of black beans and meat. So, and I think one is because it's comfort food for me. Black beans, I used to eat black beans every day back home, you know, and then the meat probably for the iron.
Yeah.
So you need to just like, you know, try to discern what's really a craving because I kind of want that, or a craving because your body needs that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you guys having a lot of fireworks over there too?
Yes.
Yeah, the firework, they just started here. They're trying to, it's been kind of an issue in New York. I don't know if it's been an issue over there, but all over New York, they have had fireworks like in the middle of the night, like crazy amounts. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Sorry, I just to bring that up. But anyways, yeah, just always remember that, you know, your digestion is everything. And having a strong Agni will give you immunity for life. You know, if you see these gurus and, you know, the people that have a slower lifestyle, they tend to eat very light food.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to overwhelm your body. And so that is what brings, you know, sattva, which is the clarity of mind. Because your food also affects your mental state. You know?
Yes.
Again, your gut is your second brain. So according to what you eat, you will have different sensations. So, yeah.
Well, I need to run. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for doing this, Natalie.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. And I have my information on the last slide. And if you ever need anything or want to get in touch, or, you know, I'm not the best in social media, but I'm trying to get better. And so I post things here and there. And, you know, a huge part of my work and passion of mine is women's health. And so that's what I really focus on. So you ladies, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
So much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Excellent.
Bye.